All right, we're back with the Leader Matters podcast, teaching Ellie how to be a leader and her teenage self. And for you guys, all leadership rules are universal. So, what Ellie's needing to learn for the first time, some of you guys may be hearing over and over again, but hopefully helping you out. So, Ellie since had a birthday. She's officially 16 since the last time we talked. So, happy birthday, Ellie.
Thank you.
Yeah. So last time we had our first ever with these, we talked about there's 10 different kind of buckets of things we think leaders do. And the first one is setting the vision. And so the first several of these are going to be talking about how you set a vision. And last time we talked about what can be attained in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year, 3 years, and kind of how you walk through that approach when you're becoming a leader of something, a leader of yourself or a leader of an organization or whatever. So rule number two for this is you got to balance being bold in your aspirations, but logical in your approach. Do you know what that means? You got to be bold in your aspirations, but logical in your approach. What does that mean before we even start talking about it? What do you think that means?
I think that would mean like you want to have like a big goal and like you want to dream big and have like something big to do, but you want it to be reasonable. You want to have like a reasonable plan to get there. It can't just be like you threw it out there and you have no plan to get there.
Yeah, like last time we talked about John Kennedy saying he wanted to go to the moon, right? And that was pretty bold because we didn't even know how to get there at that point. Um, but they did have enough technology to felt like it was doable. So it's important to be bold, but also if you said, you know, my job, if I became a coach and I said we want to take a really bad football team and go beat the state champions tomorrow, that might not be logical. Just having a bold approach is nice, but you got to balance both. But sometimes what you'll find as a leader is people limit themselves both ways, meaning they either come in with too bold, they say what they're going to do and it's probably not even possible, or they don't have a bold enough approach, that they don't feel like, they maybe limit themselves and say, well, we can't win here, or this business can't thrive except to here. And you can't do that either. So you really want to be bold. Most visionary leaders are bold. They're not scared to say what they're going to do. But you also got to have a logical approach. So we're going to talk about for the next few minutes is just how you can be bold and logical at the same time. So bold and realistic, I guess, is a good way to look at it. So, you know, I became the head football coach twice. You were little, or not
hmm
born one time and little the other time. And both times one time the team was 0-10 the year before, they didn't win a game. And the other time the team was 1-9 the year before. And one of the hardest things you had to do was convince them they could win. But we couldn't go in there the first day and say we're going to win the state championship. You had to let them know um, what we could attain. So you're kind of constantly asking yourself, am I being bold enough? Am I giving these guys confidence that we can win? Or am I just coming up with a bunch of stuff that sounds really good and bold, but it's really not all that great? So how do you know if a vision is bold enough? And I came up with three things. It challenges the status quo. You know what that means? Like it challenges what's normal. It stretches capabilities and it inspires excitement. So think about those three things again. I'm gonna ask you to think of something you might see in your life doing that, either now or as you get older. A vision is bold enough when it challenges the status quo, stretches capabilities, and inspires excitement. So, what would be something you would need a vision for like that?
I mean, I know our last episode I talked about like my PSAT score and I think that's a good example because my goal is to get like a 1500 on the SAT. And I mean, that's a pretty bold goal.
It's a very bold goal. Is
Yeah.
it realistic?
I mean, it's been done before and it can be done if
Well,
you
it can
work
be done
hard
by
enough.
you. Do you
hmm
have other evidence that are you doing well academically in other areas? Yeah, so there is that, but it is challenging the status quo, that's a really high score. Is that stretching your capabilities? Is that pushing you a little further
Yeah.
than, yeah.
I
But
mean,
is it
that's
inspiring
definitely.
excitement? Because it might give you some things that you really want, right?
hmm
And so now when you try to be a leader, the first person you lead is you. That's one of these we'll get into down the road. But when you try to lead some other people, what would be an example of something? It doesn't have to be for you personally, just be something people do. where you'd be a leader or something, and now you got to inspire excitement in other people. So everybody's excited when they're the leader. They get to be the boss of something, they're excited. But how do they get other people excited? Like, what's something we could do there? It could be what, taking over a business. It could be getting a promotion at work, things like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, like like you said, like a business, like taking over a business, you can get the people working for you excited about like better like quality of jobs and
Well, if
like
you don't get them,
getting
it's not
paid
going to work,
more.
right?
Like, yeah,
It's
no,
not going to work.
you've got to get them excited.
So you got to get them excited, but that's why you know the vision. So you think, is my vision bold enough? So like when I became those football coach of those two bad teams, we set the vision that we were going to make the state playoffs. The one school had never been in the playoffs, one hadn't been in a long time. We're going to make the playoffs. We're going to win when we get in the playoffs. That was our goal. I didn't say we won a state championship. That probably wasn't realistic, but was realistic to get in the playoffs, even though it was tough. So it challenged the status quo. They never done it. It stretched the capabilities. I mean, everybody's looking around like, I don't know. I mean, we're going to have to really work if we want to do that. And then it inspired people's excitement because, like, well, that would be cool if we made the state playoffs. So, and I'm proud to report in both places we did those things. But how do you know it's logical enough? Right. So now let's go the other way. Let's say, how do you know that it's logical enough? We know it's bold enough now that it checked those boxes. Does it check these boxes being logical enough? So your 1500 PSAT score, is that logical? Is that even attainable? So a vision's logical enough when it has these three things: actionable steps. I mean, how are you going to get there? You thought about what you're going to do to get there. It aligns with short-term goals and it promotes long-term sustainability. So think about those teams that I coached. Like, we didn't just say we're going to make the playoffs. Of course, everybody want to make the playoffs. Saying it mean really didn't do anything. You had to actually come up with, okay, how we're going to do it. We're going to practice differently. We're going to do these things in the summer. We're going to do these things in the weight room, whatever it was that we thought would be different than what they had done, and move us forward. It had some short-term goals. So our short-term goals were constantly being attained. And then the long-term sustainability, meaning if I made everybody on the team just run and run and run and run, that would make them in better shape, but they'd eventually all quit. Like, that's not long-term sustainable. So it would get the goal quicker, but it's got to be long-term sustainable. So what comes to mind when you hear me say those things?
I mean, I think like when you say like long-term sustainability, that like I think that's really important because if you come in and you have all these big plans, but you make all these people you're leading do all these things that they don't want to do, they're not gonna get
Mhm.
excited about it, like you said, and then that's not gonna work.
Yeah, the
Um,
key for building bold and logical approaches or visions is really turning your plan into our plan. So you come in there with a plan, you're the leader, you want to teach other people to buy into that plan. It's got to turn into our plan. Okay. And, there's a good example of that, and try to give you a real life example on these. But there's a lady named Sheryl Sandberg who joined Facebook in 2008. She's one of the main people right under Mark Zuckerberg who runs Facebook. And um, Facebook needed a lot of work done on operations at that time. It was just getting really big. And she quickly realized that she was going to have to change her plan and integrate it to their plan. She had some great ideas, some bold things she wanted to do, but then when she got there, she realized some of that wasn't going to work. And so she started meeting with all the different people on the teams, and getting ideas, and kind of then mixing her vision with what they realistically could do. So they came up with this shared vision that was bold but also logical, and kind of transitioned what she just thought was a plan that she had sold Mark Zuckerberg. You know who that is, the guy that runs Facebook.
mhm.
Sold them on what they wanted to do, and then when it got in there, kind of had to tweak it. So that's the thing too. You got to mix plans on these bold and logical approach. You may come in there with a great idea of what you're going to do, and then you get there. Like, I'm coach football team, and I say, well, we're going to practice this way. Well, they might not even have a practice field that even allows that. We got to have it. We got to totally change something. So things can happen. You want to, when you get somewhere, you want to really think about how you can mix some plans, and that's usually talking about what's going well, meeting with some people, what's going well, what are the most significant barriers they face, what are some ideas to fix those barriers, and then you take those answers and you put them together to create a vision that's bold and logical. So what else you got to add to that before we bid people adieu for this one?
I mean, like I said, I think those are very important. And if you don't come in and make people like the people you're leading excited, then you're not going to get anywhere with no matter how good you think your plan is.
Mhm.
If you can't get other people to work with you and you can't adapt to like changes and stuff, then
Mhm.
it's not going to work. Then you can't be a
Yeah,
leader.
that's exactly right. So, thank you, Ellie, for helping everyone learn the second lesson of being bold in your vision, but also logical in your approach. It's important to have a bold vision. It's important to stretch your capabilities. It's important to invoke excitement, but it's also important to have achievable, attainable things. And sometimes the way to do that. So the way to do both, what's realistic is to mix your plans. Take your vision, mix it in with what you get from your team, what's going well, what hasn't gone well there, and come up with some realistic milestones. You know what that means? Like some
Mhm.
some goals, some targets, and try to help know if this thing's working or if we need to change it along the way. So that's our second part of talking about your vision, making a bold vision, a logical vision. And next time we'll talk about a key part, speaking things into existence. So come back next time. Tell everybody bye, Ellie.
Bye.